Welcome to another presentation of the Solid Sports Video Blog. Today's date is March 19th, 2022. I'm Troy West. This is episode 170 of the blog. This is my 170th episode, not including maybe a couple of specials and stuff, but thank you so much for watching. Happy weekend, happy Saturday morning, and it's approximately 21 minutes after 9 a.m. where I am here on the East Coast in Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you everybody for joining me again. We got a big show today. Got a lot to talk about today. A lot of sports news. MLB is back. I'll touch on the Freddie Freeman signing with the Dodgers. As a Braves fan, that really hurt me. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And other free agency news going on in MLB is now we get closer and closer to opening day. NBA talk. 2 60-point games this week. Of course, Karl and Kyrie Irving on back-to-back nights, each scored 60 points. We'll talk about both of those teams as well, talk a little NBA, and just a look ahead to what potentially could be the playoffs and everything else. And the NFL, a lot of news as well as the NFL season, off-season started. The Devontae Adams trade to the Raiders, that surprised me. Deshawn Watson chose the Browns. We'll talk all about that. About Baker Mayfield, what that means for Baker maybe. We'll touch on the NCAA tournament that's going on right now as well. I'll take a look through the brackets and see what's going on. I know it's been a few upsets already, especially on Thursday it was. So we ain't gonna waste no more time. We're gonna get right into it. Let's talk baseball first. Freddie Freeman. Of course, long-time Atlanta Braves, me being a Braves fan, it was sad to see him go. I understand why they didn't have an extension for him. I just don't comprehend it at all. But unfortunately, he leaves and he goes to the Dodgers, which is basically National League rival right now. Dodgers been competing, or at least been in the World Series the last few years. We was able to beat them last year in the NLCS, but the Dodgers are right back there. They'd be a challenger again. But like I said, I did a short on Freddie Freeman. Basically, when they signed or traded for the guy from Oakland, the first baseman, I was like, yeah, they were saying basically the writing's on the wall that Freddie was leaving, and I just don't understand it. Freddie's a veteran. Some analysts were saying it was an analytics thing, like the guy's 5 years younger than the guy from Oakland. His numbers are pretty okay. So his projection for the future is a little bit more than maybe Freddie's is, but Freddie gonna give you what he gives you every year. He's been consistent. Definitely a long-time Brave. I definitely was upset about it. I blame the Braves for this. He should have been had a stitch a long time ago. Should have got to this point. So, but I wish him luck in LA. I'm always going to be a Freddie Freeman fan. Of course, just coming off MVP a couple years ago, I just don't understand where the Braves was going with this. But I still think we got a good chance in the NL East. It's going to be competitive here in the Mets, bolstering up the starters with Max Scherzer. I really like Max Scherzer to go along with Syndergaard, so that's going to be 1-2 punch there. As long as they score runs, the Mets will be a contender. I think the Nationals will be better this year. Quietly, Miami been playing pretty well. Philadelphia is nothing this needs that either. So it's a real deep division with contenders all over. So the Braves go ahead, they work cut off for them. But they was able to do it last year, win the division, win the World Series for the first time in almost 30 years. So as a Braves fan, I'm happy to see where we're going. I looked up this guy from Oakland. I don't have his name in front of me, but I looked at him. He's a decent player, but yeah, to me, he's not going to replace Freddie. But you're not getting no trash back for what you're getting. So hopefully he has a better. He plays well in Atlanta, and my Braves can be a contender again, and maybe hopefully go back to back, even though it's going to be tough. Now with the National League with DHs and everything else, the National League is going to be much different than it has in the past few years. So overall, like I said, as a Braves fan, I was really upset that Freddie had to go. But the Dodgers is going to be something. Padres having problems with Vlado Tatis for the injury. But I think again, San Francisco, had the best record in baseball last year. Even though the sad thing is the Dodgers had to play the Giants in that first the division series. So because the Dodgers wound up being a wild card. So yeah, the National League is gonna be deep this year. So it's gonna be tough for my Braves to repeat. Yeah, I just was really upset about it. I just wish he could have stayed, but Braves went in a different direction. We'll see if it works out for both parties. I think it will for Freddie. He'll have all that protection there with the good hitters the Dodgers have. He'll have a lot of protection. He should fit right in there and have another good season. Dodgers, to me, I probably, like I said, I'm going to do a baseball preview in a week or two. And I think the Dodgers might be my National League team to come out this season. So we'll see. Out of free agency news, I've seen a big signing yesterday. Carlos Karri signed with the Minnesota Twins. 3 years, $105 million. That happened yesterday. So Astros news and bits and pieces here. Because was it Korea that won that? Didn't they trade him to Toronto? Somebody went to Toronto too. I think it might have been Alex Bregman. I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, Houston using a few of their guys. So we'll see how the Astros, like I said, they've been through so much with the cheating scandal and everything else. Justin Verlander will be back this year, so they should definitely be better. Last year, everybody looking at the Angels. I thought the Angels were going to make a push last year. But we'll see. They got Anthony Rendon. Maybe he can, like I said, give some more pop to that lineup. They let Albert go. I think Albert's still in LA, I believe. So, yeah, so still, like I said, baseball going to be interesting. I got to really sit down and look at what's going on here. Look at something. Been a lot of moves this week. Who else signed big with the Rockies? Let's see. Just signed with the Rockies the other day. Yeah, Chris Bryant of the former Cubs. So he's in Colorado. I think the Cardinals will be a good team next year. So there's a lot of good teams in the National League. Anthony Rizzo stayed in New York. That was another one that happened this week. Because the Cubs pretty much broke that up. So now they got to rebuild. Like I said, the Cincinnati Reds should be a little bit competitive this year. So you got teams in the National League. I think the National League is going to be wide up. I think the American League is always pretty much Houston. At least it's been Houston and everybody else of late, The Yankees will be there. Toronto Blue Jays is a sleeper team. I think if they get they start pitching, get consistent, like their young team. I call them the next gen because you got Craig Biggio's son, you got Vladimir Guerrero's son. I think Chris Bagwell's son on the team. So like all these old players that I've seen growing up, their sons are now with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have done something. That's going to be the American League East is always competitive. The Rays are still ain't going to go nowhere. I got to start giving them their respect. The Yankees are the Yankees. The Red Sox, they have up and down years, but they always competitive as well. So I can't wait to really get into it and do some studying and make my predictions, and I will. And I come to lose. I announce the date. I'll probably do a short. I announce the date when I'm going to do the preview, but definitely a lot of movers and shakers, man. But like I said, as far as going back to the Freddie Freeman, I was upset as a Braves fan. It really upset me, man. I just wish we could have kept him. I mean, he's basically a franchise player, like a Chipper Jones, John Smoltz, or Greg Maddux, those old Braves. I think he was pretty much that of an icon here. Well, there in Atlanta. So. Alright, so that's it for baseball. Let's move on to the NBA. Like I said, I did a short, I think on both of these 2 back-to-back 60-point games. Karl Anthony Towns did it. I think it was against the Spurs he did it against. Scored 60 points. I think he had 32 in the second quarter, just something crazy like that, you know. He's a very underrated player in this league because Minnesota ain't been winning. They only really had that one winning season when Jimmy Butler was there for a little bit of time. And the guys, I guess the young guys, didn't really vibe with Jimmy Butler. I think Miami is a perfect place for Jimmy Butler, by the way. But to stay on Karl Anthony Towns, it was outstanding to see. I just see highlights. I didn't see the actual game, but he was outstanding. And everything that was been going on in his personal life, you know, he lost his mother to COVID. I think he lost grandma. I think he lost like 3 or 4 family members to it, and he had it himself at one point. So that, you know, he got through all that after the, you know, Jimmy Butler situation. Minnesota is a team, as we pull up the standings here, I think they in the top 6 right now. But I like the way their team is going. Karl Anthony Towns is definitely the franchise, but Anthony Edwards is a very talented young kid. Can jump out the gym, he also can shoot. I always like the D'Angelo Russell. People look at him as the goofball, you know. He still got that stigma on him, but he can play when he's playing. He can play basketball. And then Pat Bev, sort of like Draymond Green. You don't see it in the stat sheets most of the time, but he's like the fiery guy that keeps, you know, that keeps the guys motivated. Step up to anybody, take any challenge on defensively, especially. So they got a nice young team, and I think, you know. Out west, like I said, I like Phoenix. It's not that I'm discrediting Phoenix. I just think Phoenix could be beaten, and that's all I'm saying. Even though they running away with the best record in not just the West in basketball, period. So Minnesota right now is 7th, apparently, but it's basically a log jam between number 4 Utah all the way down to Minnesota. Then it's another drop off. The Clippers pretty much stand alone at the 8th spot. Then the Lakers and Pelicans are right there. Spurs and Blazers just on the outside of that 10th spot. Of course, 7 through 10 is the play-in now. If you're a top 6, you guarantee the first round series. So it's definitely good to get that top 6. But even if they get to 7th, I think they'll come out that play-in. I think they better than the teams that's other than Clippers. Even though the Clippers, if they I don't know what's going on with Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, but if they get any of those guys back, the Clippers will be a sleeper team at the bottom because, you know, they get those 2 guys back, they pretty much will be like a top 4 team, you know, a top 4 team or above. But they haven't had Kawhi all year. Well, everything I'm hearing is he's not going to come back this season. And there's been some rumors that he might want out too, so we'll see how all that goes. And Paul George just been in and out the lineup all season. So, but other than that, the Clippers to his core, like Reggie Jackson, he's been playing out his mind. Gotta get him credit. But the other 60-point game, not to get off topic, was Kyrie Irving. And, you know, every day that's surrounding Kyrie Irving right now, playing for the Brooklyn Nets. Even though the Nets, as you know, look at their record, they underachieving. They only 8th in 3 games over 500. But they still got Kevin Durant, so there's no way they're not going to make the playoffs. And it'd be hard for me, even if they wind up getting to the play. I think they still could move up to 6, because you got Cleveland and Chicago there. I think the Bulls are starting to, you know, I don't want to say come back to down to earth. I still think they're a good team. I still think they make the playoffs, but I think they starting to come. Them and Cleveland starting to come down to earth. I think Boston is starting to show who they really are with their talent. Philly. You know, with James Harden, what happened with him, you know, in the Nets game. So some people think, you know, is he going to be ready for big games? But I don't think for the regular season, Philadelphia, I think the top 3 is where they're going to be. I think Miami going to hold on. Milwaukee, to me, is coasting, but like I said, but they play well when they need to make a statement. And Philadelphia, I think they'd be a top 3. I think Boston would be a solid 4. I think from 5 to 9, because I like Atlanta. So Atlanta usually turns it on at this time of year. So I think they could possibly move up. But there's not a lot of games left either, so but I think the top 10 is the top 10 because after Charlotte at 10 at 35, so is Atlanta. The Knicks are 5 games back of that. I don't think Washington gonna catch them either, so I think those 2 teams are pretty much out, and the rest of the teams are officially out: Indiana, Detroit, and Orlando. But the Nets, to talk about Kyrie Irving, like I said, you know the situation with the shot. So he only can play in road games. I mean, that is somewhat of a problem. But I think it's backwards. The rule is stupid, you know. Like, basically, road players without the vaccine can play. But he lives at home, and he can't. And I think they got fined last week, too, because he came to one of the home games. But he's just outstanding talent. 60 points. I think he only missed 4. I think he was 13 or 17. Made like 7 or 8 threes. Got to the line. Like, he's very efficient. He can score a basketball. Defensively, you know, maybe, you know, you can poke holes to that. And then, well, the media narrative, I'm putting the media narrative is he going to be reliable in the playoffs? Is he going to want to go take a break? He's done these things. But to me, I just got to feel I could be wrong. I'm not in the locker room, just a fan speaking, really. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but to me, it seems like he's all in, like he really cares and want to play and want to help this team win. And Brooklyn, they're going to be dangerous no matter where they land because, you know, they're not really an 8 seed. They should be a top 4 team. But they've had injuries, and then the James Harden trades. Ben Simmons going to come back. When he's going to come back, that's a factor. But I think if he comes back and play a normal game, I think, especially on the defensive line, he gives them a boost. But I think it's, like I said, I think it's the Brooklyn role players that's going to play a key. Like I said, Steph Curry, shooting from the outside. Joe Harris out for the season. Andre Drummond is an asset. I like Claxton. I like all these guys. So I think if they play together, I think they will challenge somebody. So just out of I just say they finish 8th for us to play in. They get in and they beat the 8th seed. They had to go against Miami. I think they get Miami a run for the money, despite how Miami, you know, tough defensively and everything. But they don't have a Kevin Durant. They don't have a Kyrie that can just take over a game regardless of who's in front of them. I think Jimmy Butler has to be like really the scorer. I think sometimes you win the game like that, but I think consistently wise, that's not gonna work for the Heat. So the Heat would be in trouble if they get like a Brooklyn or Toronto. Toronto has been playing very well as well. Lately, quietly doing well. So and then those teams are Atlanta too. You see what Atlanta did in the playoffs last year. Got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. So that first round matchup for Miami is going to be tough. Or for either the 1s or 2s. It's not going to be no cakewalk sweeps, I think. This year in the East. The East is much stronger this season than it's ever been in years, you know. So going to be very interesting to see down the stretch. But as far as with Kyrie and the Nets, I think they is going to be a dangerous team. And you know, like I said, the media narrative, you know, they jumping all over Kyrie because of this, you know, he don't want to take the shot and everything else. But when he's on the court, he's a top 10 talent, and Brooklyn always going to have an outside chance to beat anybody, especially in a 7-game series. So we'll see how that goes. But playoffs start a couple weeks from now. So like I said, there's not a lot of games left. So like teams that are like 4 games, 5 games back, that's a lot. Trying to make up with like 10 games left. I think it's about 10, 12 games left for mostly everybody, if I had to just guess right. Let me do some math real quick in my head. Milwaukee 44-26, so what's that? 60. So yeah, about 10, 11, 12 games left, you know, for a lot of teams. So now that 5 starting to look kind of big if you're down 5 games, 3 games. Like I said a couple weeks ago when Memphis was playing very well, and they still playing well, but you know, Phoenix clinched they clinched the conference best record already. No, they just clinched the playoff berth. Okay, but Most likely they're gonna get that. Like they 9 games of Memphis. The Warriors just getting Draymond back. Maybe they hit that start. Maybe they make a push. I think that they feel it's gonna be the 1, but I think the 2 and 3 is gonna be Memphis and Golden State. And then everybody else I think is gonna sort of flip flop. I think everybody just want to stay in that top 6. Utah, Dallas, Denver. I wonder if Jamal Murray gonna come back. Because Denver would be interested. Dallas as well, but Luka. Utah is like Utah got to show me. They've been considered. They was the 1 seed last year, I think, or the year before, or something like that, and they didn't do. Matter of fact, it was last year. Phoenix was the 2 seed last year, and I just think it's too much on Donovan Mitchell to score. Have a second consistent scorer on the team, so. Even when he goes off for 40, 50 points, they really need all of them because nobody else is consistently helping them score. Like Utah, they streaky, they hit threes as a team. Jordan Clarkson, I give him his props. He's played well this year. He might could be that second guy maybe, but Utah just don't have enough for a series now. Every given night, they could probably beat anybody, but as far as a 7-game series when you really planning and doing those things, I just don't think they can overcome it. This will depends on who they get, because they could be one and done. Like I think Dallas will beat them. That's who would be their opponent right now. Denver could definitely beat them, especially with Jokic making everyone have to make Rudy Gobert work. So I think that would definitely be 2 hard matchups for them. I don't really see them beating the Warriors. Yeah, because the Warriors to me are streaky too. But I still don't think they can beat the Warriors. I definitely don't think they can beat the Grizzlies at all, or Phoenix. I think Minnesota probably could beat them in a 7-game series if that wind up happening. The Jazz to me is, I'm sort of dismissing them until they prove me wrong. But I love Donovan Mitchell though, so that's why I kind of root for the Jazz in a way, because I like Donovan Mitchell. He's one of my favorite players, so I just think he got to do too much. I really do. So, alright, so yeah, interesting week this week. I think LeBron had a 50-point game, so there's been a lot of big games. People put up big performances this week. But NBA, like I said, it's going to start getting interesting in the coming weeks. Of course, we'll come back next week, or if something happened during the week, I do my little minute short. So make sure you join me for that. Let's get to the NFL now. There's a lot of NFL news, man. Like a lot of moves, a lot of big things happening with the NFL. Well, when I wrote my notes yesterday, I already knew that the Watson thing. They said the Watson thing could happen at any moment, but I'm surprised who he went with. Though I'm surprised he went with the Cleveland Browns. And matter of fact, I'm gonna get to that second. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the Devontae Adams to the Raiders thing. That was a little bit of a surprise for me. I thought Aaron Rodgers get his contract. I thought they was going to definitely hook up Devontae Adams to keep him, because that's basically you could argue he's been the best receiver in football the last 2 years. All his numbers, I think he's number 1 in almost everything. Touchdowns, receptions, I think, or yards, or both, or the top 2, 3, all those categories. Definitely touchdown. I know he got the most touchdowns the last couple of years. But now, like him leaving, who's Green Bay going to really turn to now? They don't have no elite receiver like that. They have decent receivers, but not like Devontae. So I was kind of shocked that they traded him away. But everything I've been hearing is the Rodgers contract affected it, because they couldn't pay him either what he wanted or something of that nature. So he goes to the Raiders. The NFL, the AFC West, man, we're gonna talk about during the summer. I usually like to do a little, go around the divisions, every week. But the AFC West, man, like Russell Wilson went to the Denver Broncos. They got Randy Gregory from Dallas. The Chargers boosted their pass rush, getting Khalil Mack the other week. So the Raiders were just in the playoffs last year, so now they get another weapon with Adams to go along with the tight end. So they stacked on offense. Defensively, I like Max Crosby. He's being on the defensive line. Raiders got to improve that, but they got competition now for the Chiefs. The Chiefs sort of been laying back. I think they lost Tyler Matthew, I believe. So that's big for them. I think he's pretty much their defense. That's the pass rush. The pass rush don't get there. The Chiefs get torched, as you saw. Even though they got by the Buffalo game, but I think they doubled Diggs, but the other guy beat him a lot of times. But just the AFC period, forget the division. Buffalo, they got Von Miller. That was a huge signing for their defense. So the AFC gonna be looking crazy now with the Deshawn Watson trade to Cleveland. Like I said, I'm surprised out of the teams that was left. Now Atlanta, I was like, if you go to Atlanta, it's more about even though Atlanta got good skill players as well, but I thought, well, if you go to Atlanta, it's more about location. But New Orleans on there, I mean, I think that would have been a good fit for him with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, who could be on the move. There's been rumors that he might be moved, but that'd have been a good combination there. But I think Cleveland fits him on a football level. I just didn't think, now they lost a lot of receivers as well. I think Landry is gone for Cleveland. But they still got the running backs, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, which I've been saying for Cleveland for years. That should be their focus, is run the football, then play everything off of that. But I think Deshaun Watson, when he has to, he can stand in the pocket and throw the ball, and he's mobile. He's definitely better than Baker Mayfield, which we're about to talk about him, unfortunately. For Baker, he going to have to move on. It was interesting though. I was surprised he chose the Browns. I thought the Browns, like, no, I ain't gonna choose the Browns. He's gonna be the Saints. Or I can even see the Falcons, because everybody else got, eliminated. Denver wanted them for a while, but they went with Russell Wilson. Minnesota, like I said, I did a show on that. I think Minnesota would have been a great place for Deshaun Watson to go, for us football-wise. But they sticking with Kirk Cousins, so Minnesota, just good luck on that. And like I said, Kirk Cousins is not terrible. I just think he's not the guy that's gonna get you over the hump. That defense is gonna have to pretty much carry the team at the big times instead of the offense. So, but I was like, I wanted to see him in Minnesota. Probably out of all the teams, I think I wanted to see him in Minnesota with those receivers, Thielen and Justin Jefferson, and then you got the running back. Dalvin Cook there. I think that would have been a great fit for Deshaun. But he chose the Browns. And I was even saying this last year, that Browns shoot themselves in their foot all the time. So hopefully with this situation, though, they gave him some money, though. They gave him a nice extension for over $230 million. So they dedicated themselves to Watson. So that means Baker most likely is on his way out the door. He requested a trade. They denied it at first, but then this happened, so maybe he saw the writing on the wall. I guess they might as well go ahead and trade him now, because I don't see Baker being no backup. Or maybe they think if Watson, because he still can, even though Deshaun is out of his legal situation as far as like criminally, but he still got legal civil suits pending. So. And then just the whole situation, the NFL still could drop him with a suspension, so we'll see if that happens now that he's actually moved and signed somewhere. But I'm hoping the Maryland did their homework and knew, all right, well, he's going to at least be available sometime during the season this season. So, but Baker Mayfield, I wonder how, where would he go now? Yeah, well, if he want to go away somewhere we can start, the first thing that just came to mind is the Colts. Now that they let go of Carson Wentz, and he's in Washington now. Yeah, maybe the Colts could do something out. Because I think the Browns could probably just release him, really. It won't hurt him on the cap, because I think he's still in this rookie contract, so I think if they just release him, which they might wind up doing, if they can't find a trade for him, but the Colts would be somewhere maybe he could go if he wants to start. So obviously you want to win. But now Houston got a hole, so now that's a spot he can go bad. You know, maybe they should have just swapped. Maybe they should have included Baker in the deal. You know, but that tells me Houston didn't want him. Because if Houston wanted Baker, he would definitely been a part of that trade, or at least with that. You know, there's no way he wouldn't have went. So I think Houston's out. You know. But I think Baker probably don't want to go to Houston anyway because he's still rebuilding as well. Everybody, Seattle now is an open spot with Pete Carroll. You know, I think he can fit with Pete Carroll, and they got the receivers there, Metcalf and Lockett. But see, no running game. I think Baker do need a running game for him to reach his full potential on the field. But that's another place. Yeah, let's see. Let's look around at the other teams that possibly could be in the running. Not Buffalo. No, I don't think New England. No Miami. So no, none of them teams. None of these teams in the same division. No. Yeah, I said the Colts maybe. But I think that's really it. Right. The Giants, maybe the Giants, even though the Giants, I think they still dedicate to Daniel Jones, but I've been saying some stuff saying that they not, like, you know, so maybe that's a place. Tom Brady's back. That's something I didn't even bring up. Tom Brady's back in Tampa. So Tampa's out. Well, maybe New Orleans will be interested in Baker. You know, maybe. Maybe Carolina. But that's it. You know, because all the other teams are set. Now, the Niners are interesting because they're trying to move Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think they want something like an elite quarterback in return for him. Now that this thing happened with Matt Ryan, well, now maybe, you know, maybe Matt Ryan might want to move on. I think he will go to San Francisco because him and Kyle Shanahan got some type of relationship. And I think Matt Ryan, as long as he stays clean, I think he's gotten to a Super Bowl, so he's capable of doing it. So is Jimmy Garoppolo. So to me, that'd be like almost trading for the same guy. And Matt Ryan at this point in his career is on this downside. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not a lot of options. I think the Colts is the clear option that would be good for Baker. But as far as but it depends on what the Colts want, because, you know, to me, it's a tough debate between Mayfield and Wentz. I'd rather have Baker. I'd say I'd rather have Baker though. So maybe if they feel like it's an upgrade, they might go that route. But I don't think they would trade for him. I think they would probably wait. Because I think the Browns just probably don't wind up just releasing him, really. I don't think nobody going to trade for Baker, even just despite the potential he has. And now, Carson Wentz, to me, like, he's okay too, but like I said, he stayed injured. Baker was hurt this year. But other than this year, Baker has been on the field. Baker showed some flashes so he could play, but like I said, I think that running game helped him though. But you got Jonathan Taylor there the year he just had, so I think it could work. I mean, if Baker, you know, as far as for Baker Mayfield, the best situation is send him to Cleveland. Send him to the Colts. Well, that's where he should want to go. But everybody else pretty much set on their quarterback or just traded for one, or they got a young guy coming up. So. Not a lot of places to go unless you're going to be a backup. But if you're going to be a backup, you might as well stay at Cleveland at least for one more year, and then maybe move on. You know, they let your contract run out. You just become a free agent. Maybe that's what you should do. You know, unless you can get to the Colts, because I think that's the best situation for him. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of news. Like I said, the Tom Brady coming back. I wasn't surprised. Like I said, I was just surprised at the time, and I thought it was going to take longer. But then, like I said, on my short, the timing makes sense in this fact that free agents was started this week, so he wanted to let the Buccaneers guys know, like, look, I was coming back, so if you want to stay, I mean, you know. But I knew he was gonna come back. I think Brady. I really believe he's going to take, hopefully this will happen, like a significant injury to bring him down. I think that's the only way he's going to retire. Or maybe this year because he said 45, or he'll be 45 when the season starts. But I don't see him. I don't see him retiring, man. Like, I think he loves to play football that much. But the rumor about him has been this week. He came back and now he would have get moved to San Francisco because that's that was his childhood team. Blah blah blah. And Niners was just pretty much on the verge of the Super Bowl last year. But I don't know. I think if he came back, I think he wanted to come back for Tampa. That's my opinion. But we'll see. It's a long off season. There's a lot of happening just 1 week alone. So. But to go back to Deshawn Watson, me being a Ravens fan, which I always say when I get the chance to, this is probably going to be one of the roughest divisions in football. Now, I was just hoping Pittsburgh, and that's another, this brought up Pittsburgh, but see, I don't think the Browns will send him to Pittsburgh. So that's why I didn't bring up Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh need a quarterback. I was just hoping Pittsburgh, because I think the potential in Pittsburgh is better for Watson than it is in Cleveland. Just a little bit. I'd be more nervous if he went to Pittsburgh. He went to Cleveland. The Browns. If the Browns be the Browns, eventually something will go wrong. That's what it just seemed like with Cleveland anyway. But yeah, that was a bombshell. I didn't think I just thought he maybe would go to New Orleans. But like I said, he also had the no trade clause too, so. That's a different situation. You can't, because they definitely would have sent him to the NFC somewhere. Houston would have, but he got a okay to trade, so he okayed it to Cleveland, so that's where he's going to be potentially next season. So, all right, so that's the NFL talk around the news right now. I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this video up. Let's take a quick look at the NCAA bracket. Like I said, there was a few upsets. There's some games on today. But I don't follow the NCAA until it gets to this time of year. Especially the first weekend, it's always great. Having to watch the games all day long. So. Okay, so let's go back to the round of 64. Okay, yeah. Like I said, a few upsets. Notre Dame over Alabama. I guess going by seeding, that's a big upset. What was one of the big ones? I'm trying to look. Yeah, the St. Peter's over Kentucky. That was a big one. We'll see how far they go. Michigan moves on as an 11th seed. Pretty much that was, I think the St. Peter's over definitely has been the big one. Iowa State over LSU, that's somewhat of an upset because of the seedings. But that's it. But I thought a couple of 5s beat 12s, which always happen. I mean, a couple of 12s beat 5s. And I don't see it here. But there's a couple of intriguing matchups today. If I get a chance, I might watch some myself. Okay, Richmond over Iowa, that's a 12 over 5. I think that's the only one this year, but that's almost like common. That happens. At least one of the 5s, one of the 12s get through. but I think that's the only one. Yeah. But yeah, like the Gonzaga Memphis game, that's gonna be interesting. That's tonight. Baylor, North Carolina, #1 Baylor in the bracket. That's gonna be an interesting game. UCLA and St. Mary's should be a good game. I think the Kansas Creighton, that's a game to look at. Villanova, Ohio State, that's another. Tennessee, Michigan, Michigan got some experience, so they could probably upset Tennessee. Houston and Illinois, Arizona, TCU. So there's a lot of intriguing matchups. The St. Peter against Murray State, that should be a good one. Purdue, Texas. So all these games are good. Duke, Michigan State, a lot of people pumping that game up. So a lot of good games this weekend to finish off to get to the Sweet 16. So I'll probably try to keep my eye on it. I'm rooting for the Gonzaga because Gonzaga has been close for the last couple of years, and they sort of a small school. So I kind of wouldn't mind them still breaking through. But I don't know. I mean, the little teams really stand out to me this year. I've been, like I said, I've been in and out. I don't pay a lot of attention to the NCAA, but I be trying to. All right, so let me go ahead and wrap things up here. Like I said, I am off work. That's why I was able to record it in the morning. But I don't have a lot of time. I gotta be back early at 2 something. It was my sister's birthday the other day, St. Patrick's Day. She turned 40, so special happy birthday to my sister Cheryl. And like I said in the text message, I'm proud of you. I know things with our family is, here and there, up and down sometimes, but I really respect you as my sister, and I always looked up to you. No matter what's going on, you always did the right thing. I can't say that. I've fallen off, fell down, still try to get back up, but you kept it going. Raising my little niece Erin, raised her very well, and other things I know that's going on. You still pushing it. Started working again, so just wanted to say definitely happy birthday to her. So I worked for her and her husband, so they go to celebrate her birthday later on. So he's here relieving me now, so I'm gonna come back early for a favor so he could go and take my sister out for her 40th birthday. So just want to say, Karl, I love you again, and happy birthday. As far as things coming up with the channel, I've been doing Mortal Kombat, the Classic Towers videos. Been getting a little buzz on them, so I think now what I'm gonna do is, like I did a Sub-Zero one, that was my last one, the Warrior one. I think I'm gonna just stick with one character, just do all the towers, and then switch back over to one of my favorite characters. Like I said, I've been playing with Cassie Cage. I've been trying to play around with other not Cassie Cage, Jackie Briggs. I've been playing around with her, try to get used to fighting with her, so I might do some videos on her. But that's the latest project that we're doing right now. Like I said, I'm gonna try to either finish up some projects I haven't finished. Like I got a Solid Media project I didn't finish. Still some Mega Man I didn't finish, even though I'm not playing that right now. I've been playing, if you remember, like I got a big playlist on 20XX. I've been playing that again. Try to get used to that again. So I mean, you can see anything on the channel. As far as new games, like I said, I'm thinking about getting MLB The Show, which is a new baseball game. I'm thinking about getting that. Other things I'm thinking about getting Call of Duty Vanguard. That's the newest Call of Duty, even though it's been out for a while. But probably need to get on that. Put some videos up, free-for-all videos up on the channel. Now they got, I think, I was playing it at my brother's house. My man Fat Man, that I usually run the games with. they be having 24 versus 24 free for all, which is nuts. But I had fun with it, so I'm thinking about buying the game. So we'll see. But other than that, that's the latest we'll come up with the channel. But I'm about to wrap this thing up. I want to take a little nap before I gotta go back in. It's my phone. I like my phone ain't charging. Uh-oh. That's not good. But there it is. But thanks, like I said, thank you all you guys. I thank you for the support. The channel growing a little bit this week. So I thank you guys for always showing me the support. My old subscribers, I got some new subscribers. I'm only at 66, so this is the highest I've ever been. I'm hoping within a month, I could get at least 70 to 75, closer to 80, close to 100. That's my goal. So I'm going to be putting out a lot of content. Still going to do a blog every week. Now next week it might not be till at night, but I'll do another blog. So, but thanks so much. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting me. I appreciate it so much. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Here in Baltimore where I am, it's going to be a nice day today. It's going to rain a little bit, but as far as temperature-wise, it's going to be nice and warm. So anybody that's here, I think the whole East Coast is similar. So go ahead, get outside and have fun. Enjoy some of the weather before tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a little bit cooler, and throughout the week as well. So even though tomorrow's the first day of spring, so. But thank you. Appreciate you guys coming here, joining me. I might, if I get up early enough, I might sneak in another Mortal Kombat video and put it up on the channel. This should be up, let's see, this 7 after 10, so we've been on about probably close to 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Maybe it'll post before noon. Thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Next week, like I said, it might be a night one, maybe it's a day one, I don't know. But we'll do another next week. Like I said, I'll come throughout the week with some shorts. And I thank you guys so much for the support. I'm Troy West, and thank you for watching the Silent Special Gamer channel right here on YouTube. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching today. Talk again. And like I said, if you do like, leave a like or a comment. Definitely subscribe, man. Like I said, I like to see comments, and I like, especially when I do the sports ones, because my sports blogs, because sometimes I want to have a little, not debate per se, but just give somebody else's perspective. So I like to interact, so I definitely would answer if anybody commented in that comment. So feel free to do that as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.